Hey everybody, it's Danielle here, creator of the Natural Beauty Row Hair Extension System, and I'm here with my lead coach and trainer, Ani.
Hey guys, so we are so excited to be here with you today. If you're receiving this video and this email, it means that you showed interest either in the NBR education or the BMS education. And if you're unsure of what is what, NBR stands for Natural Beaded Rows, which is the actual hair extension method that we use, obviously, at DKW Styling. BMS is for business, marketing, and sales. Something that we've learned, I mean, we both do hair behind the chair. I've been doing it for 11 years now. You've been doing it for 16, 17?
I'm almost 17.
Why do I keep adding more numbers than that? But I've been doing hair for 11 years now. Danielle's been doing it for 17, and we've experienced a lot of things, whether we were working for someone else doing commission, whether we were renting a booth, we had our own suite, then being a salon owner, and we're bringing all of this education really to accumulate together.
Right.
So you guys are going to be receiving a video series from us giving you tips and tricks and really things that we've learned in almost 30 years worth of experience.
I feel like you go to hair school and then you're just like thrown out to the wolves. It's like, okay, figure it out. And we all go into hair wanting to kind of be our own boss and then literally have very little business training skill sets. And so that's kind of really what I wanted to talk about, is just having that responsibility and accountability behind the chair. And it's funny because we always refer to BMS or the business marketing and sales as in front of the chair.
Yes.
In front of the chair. And then behind the chair is obviously the magic and the art. And you have to be good at both in front of the chair and behind the chair to really create a successful business for yourself.
Now, I feel like a lot of artists, they're amazing behind the chair. Like the accountability that they take, they're taking classes, they're practicing, they're, really taking care of the client. But let's talk about accountability.
Right.
Essentially, it's just responsibility.
Right.
It's being responsible for your clients, being responsible for your craft, and being responsible really for your business. So for me, whenever I look at artists, accountability behind the chair, which is when you're always talking about the art, falls into multiple categories. Being good at hair, honestly, that's just not good enough these days.
Right.
Now, yes, if you're doing balayage or you're doing hand painting or whatever kind of extension method you're doing or a particular color, you need to be good at it, and that is part of your responsibility inside of that.
Right.
But even more so, client experience. Like, it can't just be that a client came in and you're like, thanks for coming, I'm going to take your money. And we really pride ourselves heavily at DKW and inside of DKW Styling Academy that the experience before they get there, when they're in your chair, and when they leave, all of it should be phenomenal.
Right.
And as the business owner, as the stylist, as the lead artist, like, you are accountable for that. And truly, if something goes wrong, well, that falls on you.
Right. I think a lot of times in our industry, and I mean, I've been there in the beginning of my career where, Sally doesn't like her highlights or lowlights and this, and you're like, oh, well, Sally's just crazy or whatever it is. But really, you have to take accountability for like, okay, was the consultation set up correctly? Was there clear communication and that kind of thing? And I think when you can kind of own that responsibility, you actually become a better artist.
Absolutely. And then let's even talk about accountability in front of the chair. Look, artists are real good at being artists and stylists and the happy-go-lucky, like, color slingers and paint everywhere.
Right.
Like, that's their favorite part. But
that's fun.
It's because it is fun.
Yeah.
It's the best. But you also have to be able to run a business.
Right.
So here's what I really want you to start
because then it
thinking
becomes
about.
not fun. Like, if you are literally, doing hair, it's fun. And then one day you're like, oh shit, like I don't have, for as much stress and as much work as I'm putting out, like I have very little in my bank account to show for it. And then it's when it gets kind of weird and you start to resent everything that you loved. You start to resent the clients, your customer service goes down. Like it just becomes kind of a 9-to-5 job, and it's you lose the passion for it. Your work actually goes down, and it's because you didn't have the skills and the knowledge in front of the chair in order to set you free so that you continue to love the art behind the chair.
And guys, being in front of the chair isn't just ordering color and cleaning your salon. It also goes down into, how are you marketing? Are you even marketing? I mean, honestly, or are you posting one picture every here and again on your Instagram, but it's a private Instagram that only like your mom and your dad are watching? That doesn't actually work for marketing. Are you running ads? What kind of ads are you running? And the big terrifying question is, do you know how much money you're actually making?
Yes, exactly. I think we've all been guilty of that as artists, is we just kind of want to like live in la la land, or we end up working like 12-hour days. We come home, we say we're going to like do our books, we're going to do this, but really we just eat the kitchen and go to bed. Like let's be honest. I think that we know as artists, it's not like we're sitting at a computer and we can have a lunch break and this and this. Artists are known for doing like 10-hour days where if they got to sit and eat a sandwich and pee, which is probably at the same time, and maybe look at a text, they're like, oh my God, like
this was a great day. I got to pee.
I got to pee today, and I only did once because I didn't have enough time to even drink water throughout the day. Like the reality is that's how our bodies physically get run down. So the last thing we want to do when we go home is face the ugly truth of like, I'm not making as much money as I think. And in our minds, work doesn't equal more dollars. Hustling behind the chair doesn't equal more dollars. And so we think, well, I'm working really, really hard. And it's like we always say, it's like you're on a hamster wheel. You're running really, really, really hard and you're running really, really, really fast, but you're not really going anywhere. And that's because you lack the business knowledge and the skill set in front of the chair.
So then let's really talk about 2 things that you can start doing right now. 2 things to really start taking accountability behind the chair, which is the art, and accountability in front of the chair, which really is the business, the marketing, and the sales. Now, being behind the chair, I think we start thinking that once we've been doing hair for a long time, like the practice ends. And I'm going to have you consider that practicing, we literally call it power practice. That should never end. Right. And it doesn't matter if you're doing hair extensions or if you're a colorist or if you're just cutting, like it doesn't matter. You should always be practicing. A paying client or a model should never really be a guinea pig or the first time you're really doing something. Right. So every single day, even if all you do is take 15 minutes, it can be as simple as going through and looking at your color manual. Are you in a line? Like Redken Shane's just released a new M series. Phenomenal. Do you know what the underlying tone is? Do you know what M even stands for? It can be as simple as studying color, testing new swatches or new formulas, or if you're doing extensions, actually spending 15 minutes and practicing your NBR and your extensions and putting in the beads and is the tension right?
Sometimes time doesn't always equal more experience. And I think that sometimes like I see in our industry, I've been guilty of it myself, where it's like colors pre-mixed, Sally's coming in, there's no time to talk about anything new with her hair. She's getting the same baby lights throughout the whole head, the same smudge. Like that's what Sally's getting because that's all I have time for. I don't have time to think about anything else. You know what I mean? And it's because we don't take that time and actually study new color formulas where when Sally comes in, we're like, oh my God, Sally, I'm feeling comfortable and confident because I just learned the internet. I mean, you don't have to get that scientific.
No.
But you're confident in like the knowledge that you learned. So now you can offer something new to Sally, which in turn she has updated amazing hair, which in turn you can charge more later in life. I mean, there's just so many things that knowledge is power. And you
Absolutely.
have to, hair is not one and done. And the only time you stop learning is because you don't like your job anymore. You're not passionate about it anymore. You maxed out all your time and you're just like, Sally, pre-mix, done. And that you honestly have to take this come to Jesus moment and say, is this where I want to be right now?
And then even talking about taking accountability in front of the chair, here's what I want you to do. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper. You're probably going to have to watch this video again, but there's a couple numbers that I really want you to write down. Number 1, how many clients did you even do that week?
Right.
How much did you charge those clients and how much did they tip you? How many hours did you work and how many days did you work? And once you start having those numbers, even if all you're doing for right now is just writing down how much money am I charging and what are they tipping me? And that includes your mafia money. You can't hide. You can hide your mafia money if you would like. Yeah, the mattress money, like the cookie jar money, whatever you want to call it. It still counts as income that you're receiving, even if you're not claiming it, which we don't encourage. That's illegal, but whatever. Just you have to start really keeping track to say, this is the money I'm actually making.
Cookie jar money doesn't actually in turn help you because then you don't really know like how well you're doing and your expenses and that kind of thing. So.
And not only that, and I can tell you, I started doing NBR. I did NBR for an entire year before I joined what's BMS and now DKW Styling Academy. And in that year, I had some success. Like I got some clients. It wasn't bad, but I was not making a lot of money. I was still at 4, maybe an occasional $5,000 if it was getting spicy. And once I started joining BMS and what's now the Academy, it was insane. In a year, I flipped my business. Because I had to get a lot more serious about what I was doing. I was practicing more. I was writing my numbers down more. Like I was really diving deep. Right. And on top of that, I had Danielle as well, who was like, okay, well, what are you doing with marketing? Have you done da? And it was not just me alone on an island anymore.
Right.
It was now someone who had already walked the path that I was now trying to walk down and was showing me like, you want to get here? This is what you actually have to do to get to that place. And that was something so helpful that in a year, I quintupled my business. I didn't even know that.
Quintuple?
5 times, 5x.
I'm like trying to do the math, but I'm like,
doubled,
what is quintuple?
Doubled, doubled, tripled, quadrupled, quintupled.
Quintupled.
I literally had to Google the word. I didn't know what 5X was, but it blew my mind. But that came from a lot of accountability, not just on me to myself, but from a team member, which is why we are so just adamant about having the right people at all of our events and even inside of the academy, because it's not just you alone by yourself anymore. This is a team that your success is their success. You getting clients doesn't mean they have less. It's everybody supporting everybody.
Right. And I feel like inside of my programs, I always tell people, I'm like, this is not for everybody. This is for people who actually want to grow. And I think that when you jump on that kind of energy, like where everybody wants to grow, you see yourself evolving and you're like, oh, I never want to go back to that person that I was. Like, I didn't even realize like I didn't like my book of business, or I didn't like my clientele, or I wasn't making that much money. And when you allow yourself to, dream a little bigger and grow a little more and acquire the knowledge along the way, you start to see results.
Absolutely.
And that's what's so cool. And I feel like it's hard to do on your own. Like, it really is.
I tried it.
And you know what's so funny? Even in the beginning when I started my brand, I felt there was moments where I just felt so alone. But in a way, strangely, I felt called that this was going to evolve into something more. And that kind of fueled me, and it kept pushing me, because it was like, and I share this story a lot of I may have been doing it alone, but it was like I almost had a team of stylists like rooting me. I just felt the energy, and I felt like this was something that I needed to continue to push forward. And now, like, there's hundreds and thousands of artists using not only the system of Natural Beaded Rose, but are having the most amazing amount of success in their personal life, behind the chair, in front of the chair. And I couldn't be more honored as an educator to see this in my students. And so for me to see the growth in my students, it pushes me to be like, what's next? And how many more artists can we reach? And how many more artists can we inspire? And how many more can we get to love the art again, but also be really good businessmen and women?
And so with that, guys, the biggest question we get is like, well, when's the next event? When can we attend? What can we do? So BMSCON5, BMS Convention 5, will be this October. Tickets are not yet on sale. But what I encourage you to do is go to bigmoneystylist.com, enter your email, and that will place you on the wait list. That the minute those tickets go on sale, you're going to get an email and you can get your ticket to come and attend, and not just learn. Yes, you're going to learn NBR and you're going to learn a new method and really find a niche inside what it is you're trying to do, but also gain the tools for the front of the chair of how to continue to grow your business without dying. And then the opposite thing that we want to happen happens is you stop loving the hair all over again.
Right.
So thank you for being here with us, and we will definitely be back next week to give you guys another few tips and tricks. And I really hope that you just start practicing and start getting your numbers together.
I would say this week, that's one of the goals I'd like you guys to do, is just, it might be scary, but kind of like look at your book of business. How many haircuts do you have? How many colors? Basically, what are you making per hour? And sometimes just starting there, it's kind of an aha moment of where you need to go next. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.